Character Art Podcast, special bonus episode. Spring break is over. The catch-up episode between three lifelong friends going way back. Milk money days? Schoolyard days? Man, we go way back, you know? Yes. So it's been like, we were talking before we were recording, like fucking 5 months or so. Sorry. I think we've both been really busy. Yeah, I mean, for me, work's been crazy. It sounds like work's been crazy for you as well. Yeah, it's really hard to find time.
Especially,
yeah, you've been near death. Then actually reaching death and then being pulled out of Hades to walk the earth as a wraith, which is pretty awesome. Unfortunate.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, but pretty awesome. So, other than just wanting to catch up, because we haven't talked for a long time, too long, arguably, I noticed on like Polycount, probably a few weeks ago, there was like an Ask Me Anything by a very generous art director in the industry, and saw that it was pelted by like a few like common questions from students, like, can you look at my portfolio, or how many pieces of art do I need in my portfolio and stuff. And while that's absolutely a valid question to ask, it sent me on this tirade of wondering like how the fuck these questions are still being asked, even though they were asked when I was in school like 15 years ago, and that there hasn't been some kind of I don't know, not definitive answer, but it's almost as if like teachers or schools are not answering these like obvious questions that I've been asked for years, you've been asked for years, So I guess the hope is that I can answer some of those questions with you guys through this podcast. So I've gone through some social media, Polycount, a few emails that I get. Obviously, I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I've collected a giant chunk of questions that we can go through. A lot are very common. You've probably been asked them before. Maybe we can go through them, discuss them, and maybe this could even be like a reference in the future for those questions. Somebody can point them to this or whatever. So I guess I do it with good intention, even though I just naturally sound snarky. Yeah.
Hopefully it's something to like stem the tide, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and as an update, I think we were posting about this on Facebook, but my new method for dealing with ridiculous requests, which I think I picked up from you, actually. I don't know if you want to go public. I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder by doing this, but now whenever I get like a request for a lot of work within a short amount of time, my new tactic is to quote them the most ridiculous price I can, that I can possibly imagine, within reason. So if somebody came up to me and wanted like a military character done in a week, I asked them, or I told them that it would be $25,000 for a week's of work, which is a bit higher than my price. So I'm keeping
just by like $50 or so.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just say I rounded up. So, no response yet, but
Well, that's good.
but this is my new thing. It's like I don't want to just silently let them go on, and I'm hoping that maybe we can encourage enough people to stand up for their livelihood and kind of politely tell them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
totally.
totally.
I remember because it was we had a little bit of a conversation, and I'd done the same thing, man. I'd done exactly the same thing, and I've only ever gotten one response, and the one guy that did respond to my ridiculous fucking sum of money was just like, "Is this a joke? Is this?" And
It's like,
it's weird because it's like, oh well, dude, is your request a joke, man? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm,
it's the same level of jokiness, I think.
mhm. It's certainly part of a joke. I'm just not sure what the punchline is, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Um,
One day you're gonna meet a guy or somebody who's gonna be like, yeah, man, we need to get this done. So there you go.
yeah, yeah,
Here's your
exactly.
money. Sort it
Yeah,
out, and you're gonna be like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah, man. But anyway, that leads into question number one. Should I take this low pay, no pay job just to get my foot in the door? Troy?
Oh, who? Oh, you're handing it off to me straight away.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Um, I I think it depends on your situation, man. Because I definitely took some shitty jobs when I was first starting out. But
Hmm.
and I know that it's hard to kind of take the stance of being like, no, don't do it, don't do anything like that. Um, but man, at the same time, I think if you are starting out and you've got nothing, it's literally your first job, and you're just trying to get on the map.
Hmm.
I would look at the job. Do you think you're going to be able to use it in any other way? Like, is it going to be cool for your folio? Are you going to be able to show it to other clients and get more work from it? Does it have more use to you outside of the tiny like monetary compensation that you're
Hmm.
going to get? And
Yeah.
if the answer is yes, then I think you should probably do it. But don't
Yeah.
make a habit of staying there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the slippery slope part of it, right? I mean, I think it'd be hypocritical for me to say not to do that because I mean, I definitely took really like low paying jobs when I was first trying to get into the industry just to
Mm,
feel as though I'm getting some kind of experience. I think
mm, mm,
the misconception was that everyone would know what I was working on, you know? So, I mean, I think like, I think now being in the perspective of somebody who's looking at people trying to, you know, join my team or enter the industry or whatever, um, I would have no idea some of the work would be like professional or not. You know, like when I was starting, I was making like UIs and stuff for whatever, like fucking browser-based games, right? So
mm.
I don't think anyone really would look at it and be like, oh, that's professional experience. I think they'd just be like, oh, it's like, okay, you're making like card games or something like that, you know?
Mm.
So I mean, I'm not sure it necessarily like benefited my career. You know what I mean? I think that
Yeah.
there was maybe a caveat to the pay would be what you can get, um, you know, through like context or content of like your portfolio. Like if you're making good-looking characters or something over a healthy stretch of time or whatever, that would benefit you, and it's like a paying gig. You know, I mean, of course, take that, right? But I
Mm.
mean, like killing yourself for very little pay just to have a name that no one recognizes on your resume is kind of shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally, totally. What do you think, Lena?
I'm pretty much on the same page as you, especially if you're just starting out, um, and not necessarily looking to get your foot in the door, because I think your first jobs will usually probably not get your foot in the door as far as, I don't know, exposure or what you're working on. Um, but it's good to start somewhere to get in the habit of what, like, are we talking about just freelancing, by the way, or just jobs? Like any job, like in the industry job?
I'm going to assume freelance, just because I
Mm.
don't like, just based on the wording, I don't think you could legally hire somebody for the no pay. You know what I mean?
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, so then if it's freelance, you got to start somewhere and build your experience at some point. So I don't necessarily think it's too big of a deal as long as you're not seriously undercutting yourself to where you're doing this job and by the end of it you can't even pay your bills.
Hmm.
That's a little bit too ridiculous, but at the same time, I think as long as you have something to work on that is for your personal like portfolio outside of the freelance job, that's the way to go because most of the stupid jobs that you get won't actually push you any further with your
Hmm.
portfolio. So it's I guess all dependent on the specific scenario.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
Um, so question number two. is it better to be self-employed or freelance, or self-employed slash freelance, or to belong to a company? Um, I think we've all been on both sides of it. From my perspective, it's better to be in a company in the sense that, you know, if you're looking to climb the ladder, so to speak, or, have, um, I guess, like that type of career, I suppose. A company will give you that, and I find like the thing that I was working when I was working freelance, I was lacking, dealing with the team, dealing with an art director, dealing with like the cycles of production and things like that, and I was just kind of like I got to make, a lot of cool stuff, but I was very like disconnected from production, and I think the uh, studio work, whatever, like work style or whatever, is like helping me out in the long run in terms of like management, understanding, different parts of production, understanding, different like development cycles and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't think there's necessarily one is good and one is bad. Like, I think it's just kind of like what you want to do. I mean, you guys can answer, but I mean, you've got like your own thing going on. So I mean, you're like the prime example of doing things for yourself and it working out.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's pretty much spot on, man. I think my whole career has been basically split directly in half, like for 12 or 13 years. I've got about 6 or 7 years in-house, and the other six kind of like as a freelance artist. So, yeah, totally, man. Working in-house is awesome because you're connected with people. You get to see more of the production. You get to see how things are going.
Hmm.
If that's how it feels, if that's the kind of person you are, then I think that's the way you should go. Um, and freelance, you get a lot. You're disconnected from the production, but
Hmm.
you tend to like be able to work on a ton of different projects. You manage your own time, but you're also like isolated. You know what I mean? Like you can legit lose social skills, man, big time.
Yeah,
You
dude.
can
I
start
mean,
like at least 5 words per week. You start dropping out of your vocabulary. You just you
after a
just
year, you're just like a fucking troglodyte.
totally, man. You just start speaking a different language to people, eh? So that we go out to like get groceries or whatever. People are just like, what?
Yeah.
What did you say, man? What is that?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are these hands?
But actually, it happened quite recently. Troy and I went to this Weta gallery show with our friends Andrew and Lindsay, and I was excited because this will be the first time I've seen another human being outside of Troy for a long time. I mean, like a group of humans.
Mhm.
And we went, and I literally kind of forgot how to
A gr-
socialize.
wait, stop. This is literally the first time I've seen a group of humans outside of.
I've
Holy
seen,
shit!
I've
Do you
seen, I've,
see?
I've seen one or two pass by the window, but
No,
uh,
I didn't mean like
I think they're
see.
called I
Sorry.
think they're called a pack or maybe a herd.
Holy shit! Even just that sentence. There is an example. That's an example of what I'm talking about. A group of humans. That's just classic, dude. It's
Or
just
I
classic.
guess to be a little bit more specific, a gathering for an event. Because I mean, we went to grocery stores, but you don't really talk to people. That's weird there. But so we went, and it was just kind of in my head. I like didn't know where to put my arms, or like if I should smile or respond, or like do I keep nodding? Is a conversation over? Like I didn't know, and I think that is what happens when you're by yourself freelancing or at home for so long. So
Mhm.
if you can handle that, then dude, by all means, more power to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely a
Cool.
split, eh?
Uh, so question 3, we probably sort of answered, but do you usually work in a studio? What's that like? I think we kind of covered that already, but I think it's one of those things that you get what you know, you get from it what you want kind of thing. Like I'm sure like some studios are a better fit for you, some are worse. Doing
Mm.
your own thing might be better. I think it's really a personal thing and how you deal with teams, how you deal with longer running projects, how you deal with different like departments and stuff like that. And if that's not really your thing, then maybe freelance is the way you want to go.
Mm. Yeah,
I,
the only no, I'm going first because I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna forget. The only the only thing that I would add. See, I've forgotten.
dude, you
All
did
right, you
that.
go.
I
You
didn't.
go. No, I forgot, man. Totally.
I think the point we're all really missing here in this epic question of, studio versus freelance, are the toilets.
Hmm.
Are we not thinking about that? You get to poop in your own toilet,
That
like in your home.
that definitely is a level of freedom that that I wish I had on a daily basis.
Dude,
I mean,
yeah.
as much as I love my team at Insomniac, and really any team that I've worked at or with.
You
Every
you draw
bathroom.
you draw the line at sharing like butt heat with your coworkers.
I think I draw the line at every bathroom of every studio I've ever been in has smelled like a fucking barn, and I don't know what it is. It's got to be a volume problem. You know what I mean? It's just that many free lunches and that many fucking busy asses just leads you into a and
You
Oh,
never have
so
to worry about that feeling. What?
so
yeah.
I remembered the butt talk made me remember.
Oh, okay.
So the only thing that I was going to add is that um, yeah, what you were saying about the type of studio, man. I think because I've worked in a really small studio,
Hmm.
and with literally like a handful of people, and I think that kind of studio can be cool because it's generally pretty close, and everybody is almost always in the know, like
Hmm.
of what's going on across the entire project. It's almost like you're a tiny family that's like working on this thing, and you all know each other, and everything is cool. That can be quite cool. But then on the opposite end of the scale, you've got like enormous fucking companies, right? With like 100 people, 200 people, or in the case of like Riot and Blizzard, there's like fucking thousands of you split across who God knows how many projects, and it in that scenario can be awesome because there's always like some epic level of shit going on at any point. But at the same time, you're probably just a tiny little dot in that massive like sea of awesomeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you probably don't know as much as you probably don't know bugger all about what's going on. To be honest, you're just kind of happy to do your thing and be a part of that huge company.
Hmm.
Then that could be a better fit for you.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
So question 4, what is it like to be part of the games industry? Um, I guess I mean I guess we've all done games work, but I mean I'm the one currently in it. Uh, I mean to me I mean I think again I hate that like every answer is basically like, well, it depends what you think in your heart. But uh, I mean for me games is like what I've always wanted to do. Like I've never had interest in film or anything like that.
Hmm.
I would consider myself a game developer first, and then like an artist second. Um, but I mean, I don't really have a lot to compare it to since I haven't worked in like film. Maybe you do, Troy, because you've kind of transitioned. But um, I mean, for me, it's great. I mean, there's definitely ups and downs. You've or I've seen like friends lose their jobs through like layoffs. I've seen, companies go like overseas, like put in, you know, probably more hours than I would in a different industry. But dude, I can't imagine doing anything else. I mean, I can't imagine being a banker or anything like that if bankers still exist. But any whatever a regular job is, I can't imagine having one.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, I loved it, dude, and I don't want to ever say that I would not go back to making games or anything like that because I'm like you, dude. I've been mucking around and tinkering with games and making game assets and shit since I was pretty young. So I loved it, man. I loved it.
Mhm.
Um, my it's a very kind of like technical job, and I think that the biggest kind of like, especially for the young people trying to get in, I don't think it's actually as fun as what you imagine it to be. It certainly can be, but there's a ton of like really challenging, technical, difficult shit to get done that goes into a final product, man. Getting that game across the line is no joke.
Mhm.
Um, and I think, I mean, without kind of like delving into the specifics of that, it's just know that it's a fucking lot of work, and it's a lot of hard work, and there's a lot of people um, who are most likely very passionate about whatever it is that they're doing, like their contribution to that project, and it's also this kind of like this social fit to I mean the social fit for you and how you fit into that, into that
Mhm.
like process of all these people doing their things. It's like everything matters, and the better that all works, I think it really shows in the products that come out at the end.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, as opposed to me kind of stepping out working in film, I think film is it's just a whole different beast.
Mhm.
It is very much a different beast. I don't. Yeah, I won't get into that because it wasn't kind of pertaining to it. But yeah,
Mhm.
you got anything, Lena?
Uh, the question was, what is it like working in the games industry?
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, well, again, since I haven't had like handfuls of years in the games industry, I've had small bits and pieces, doing collectibles and film and game. I would have to say, man, I think some of the best experiences personally were working in games, especially at Grinding Gear. I felt like the most challenging was working in the games industry, but it was the most rewarding because the moment you take down your ego and you realize it's not just about you individually and you making art, it's about getting together on a team and making this thing work and it be successful and learning everything it takes to get it running is really fun and unique. And it makes your brain just kind of explode in all the like best and worst ways.
Mhm.
So I definitely I would definitely go back and make a video game at some point in time in my life because of how rewarding it was at the end.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Uh, so question 5, how did you get employed? Your first 3D modeling job and or your current job? I think we've probably gone over this in previous podcasts, but to give the shortened version, in my case, how I got my very first job was through basically a person contacted me for a contract job based on my portfolio. The contract led to a permanent position. Um, and then my current job is actually the only job that I've ever gotten through a recruiter. So I basically got headhunted for the job. It was a really good fit once I you know met the team and saw the project and stuff, and yeah, it was a really good fit. So I took it.
Nice. What about you, Lena?
This is such a weird question, to be completely honest, because it's like
Mhm.
I don't know honestly what anyone expects. Like someone magically found me and everything just worked out beautifully. I don't
Mhm.
know, man.
Mm.
I did some art and someone found, that kind of typical response.
Mhm.
I do owe lots of my beginning experiences to Joy. My first experiences were actually not in the games industry. It was freelancing, uh, working on Madara. It was a board game, doing some miniatures.
Mhm.
And then after working on that for a while, transitioned to Grinding Gear Games.
Mhm.
And that was just out of doing some work and them giving me a shot, and it ended up working out. And then after that, Weta was because uh, I knew about something that they were working on, so I just kind of whipped up a really quick sketch and I sent it over, and they're like, "That's cool, come in for an interview." And then I was at Weta for a while, so that's my story.
Mm.
Cool.
in a nutshell.
For me, just quickly, the very first 3D job that I got contacted for was actually one of those shitty low pay jobs that we were talking about earlier. It was just a person who had contacted me through my folio, hit me up and was like, "Hey, would you do my school project for me?" They had yeah. So I helped someone pass their exam or whatever it was. I basically did all of their work for them, and they submitted it, and they paid me to do their schoolwork basically. That was my first 3D job,
Wow.
and
Did
yeah.
they did they pay you like pretty decently?
It I don't know, it was like $500 or something like that.
Wow.
I can't remember what it was. Yeah, $500, and I had to do like I actually worked on it. I split the job with my partner at the time, and
Hmm.
we worked on it together, and we had to build a rabbit and a tortoise, and we had to build this environment, kind of like a tree, like a foresty environment with a path, and we had to show the tortoise essentially beating the rabbit because it's that whole kind of
Hmm.
that whole saying.
Hmm.
We basically had to show it in like an animatic kind of a way. So it was like a big long like maybe minute and a half kind of animated sequence. So we had to model it, texture it, rig, animate, do the whole lot, and
Wow.
render out like a finished movie. But I'll never forget it because she was like, "Hey, the quality can't be good because I'm not good at this stuff. So don't make
So
it like
it has to be
don't
believable.
make it yeah don't make it look like to my teachers that they would look at it and go, you didn't make this."
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like make it look amateur.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Jeez.
yeah, that was my first job, and currently I am a sculptor at Witter Workshop
Hmm.
doing collectibles,
Cool.
and I am a sculptor at I Has Toys.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
so, question number 6. I don't know how much you can really get into it, but why did you leave your last job?
Oh boy. Oh sorry.
Yeah.
That
uh,
wasn't meant for anything.
so for me, my last job was with Irrational, a team that I really, really loved, really liked being part of it. I got to work on one of my favorite franchises. But basically, through internal discussions, they're talking about going in a different direction, and ultimately that led to the not the closure of the company, but laying off a significant portion of them. Um, so I left before that. There were definitely signs of that happening, but yeah, man, that's basically it for me. It was looking at a better opportunity and kind of felt that things were changing in a way that I didn't want them to.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
What was I doing before? Oh, so my one's actually kind of boring. I was working at Grinding Gear before Weta, and we, well, I left because we wanted to go to Weta.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ta-da!
it was basically a transition. Weta was always a place that I really wanted to work and experience. So yeah, there was definitely no bridges burnt. I think Grinding Gear is an awesome place. It's a cool little team. They're doing some rad shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, we'd totally go back. They're awesome.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
group of guys is amazing.
Yeah, it's totally one of those places that I'm happy to say, yeah, I'd absolutely work there again. It's a cool
Mhm.
place. Yeah,
Cool.
there's no real bad reason there.
Cool.
Nothing juicy to talk about.
Yeah. No drama.
Yeah.
Um, so is it the same for you, Lena?
Yeah, yeah,
All right. All
yeah.
right. What he said. Um, cool. So, question number 7. What is the best project that you have worked on so far? Um, what do you think of that, Troy?
Oh man. Um, I have to say, I think the most kind of like unforgettable like time that I could I could go back to. Like if I had a choice to kind of go back and do over, just because of how awesome it was, I think it was my time at a company called Fuzzy Eyes.
Uh,
It was a small company, but we were trying to do really big things. And I think just because of the team, how everybody kind of jived with each other, the kind of antics that we got up to, and just the game that we were working on and what we were trying to do. It was a really good and fun time, man. And it's really sad that project never got to see the light of day the way that we wanted to, the way that the original team wanted it to be seen.
hmm
Because yeah, we were doing some crazy shit right back when the PS3 and Xbox sort of first came out.
hmm
Um, so yeah, that would be my favorite, I think,
Cool.
favorite of all time.
Cool.
What about you, Lena? Anything? What's your favorite so far?
Wait, who did you say, Gavin or Lena?
Lena?
Uh, it's kind of hard to say, man, because my line of things that I've done is a bit small. Um, I do have something that is kind of irrelevant to the games industry that I'll throw in, but uh, I, fuck, I'm sorry. What is the question again? So what was the best project you go back on?
What your most, yeah, what you enjoyed the most, basically. But I mean,
Y-
yeah, I guess it's open to interpretation. However you enjoyed it.
Um, I think the most fun I had working on a project was actually at Grinding Gear. We were working on the last. It came out, right? I can talk about it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
out.
It's Malachi's boss level, and we were given, both Troy and I together as a team, to create this level, however it was, and Troy ended up making this giant, pretty much butthole sphincter for this level, and because we were just going with ideas to try to make it look really gritty and yucky, and then we had put these giant worms that were just pulsating on the outside, and there were some guys like making the animations look all gross for it, and uh, my lead had given the thumbs up to just create some ideas for some decals, and that was really fun. It was just an overall really great experience working with Troy and learning how to do all these disgusting things, and it just looked so cool at the end. It was really fun seeing how it turned out.
And everybody thinks all I do is make boobs.
And buttholes.
Mhm.
It
It was
all works
great, man.
out.
It was great. All that intestinal goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you got up there. Wow.
It
Uh,
was an experience for sure.
yeah. Damn. Uh, for me, I mean, it's kind of hard to pick. I mean, I think every project I've been on, whatever. It's like they're my children, and I love them all equally, or something. Um, I definitely really liked Sunset Overdrive, like the last project that I was on.
Mm.
I mean, right now, man, I'm working on Spider-Man, and that's like a childhood hero of mine. So it's definitely a bizarre turn of events that I get to. I basically came to Insomniac for Sunset, and
Mm.
I just assumed it was going to be like, I don't know, I'm working on like 3 Sunsets or something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yeah, I got announced that we were working on Spider-Man like a little while ago, and yeah, I mean that's great for me. But since it's not my finished project yet, I don't really know if it counts. But I'd probably say Sunset, and I mean BioShock Infinite is obviously like it was really great. Kind of like you,
Mm.
Troy. I have like this soft spot for like one of my like very first companies that I was at. I'm
Mm.
working on a cyberpunk shooter that ended up getting canceled. But like
Oh.
if I could go back, like if I had known then what I know now, and what like I could have brought to like the project and stuff, I would
Mm.
love to be able to work on it again, just because it's like one of my favorite genres. It's one of my favorite types of games, and like it was a small, pretty like talented team. So you
Mm.
know, it yeah, it was definitely cool at the time for sure.
Mm. Mm. Awesome.
Um, let's see. Question 8. Did you go to college or take higher education before landing your job? If so, where did you go? Did you enjoy it there? What was your degree of study? I went to school. I don't think it's in business anymore. It was generally kind of shitty. I enjoyed it there. I think because I was young and, um, you know, I was meeting people with like common interests for like the very first time. You know, in the general sense of going to college or university, I think you leave your house and you're on your own and feeling like an adult finally or whatever. Didn't really have a degree. It was like animation and visual effects. Um, but yeah, I mean, I went before, but I don't think it necessarily played into me getting a job since I mean, I'm sure I've ranted about every podcast that we've done. I dropped out, moved across the country, and basically worked odd jobs and contract jobs until I landed something permanent. So I think it's probably, I mean, it's obviously a bold statement to be like, nah, fuck school or whatever, right? Since people do get something out of it, I'm sure I got something out of it. Um,
Mm.
and there's definitely better schools out there. Some are worse than others, but I don't think mine directly played into me getting a job.
Mm. What about you, Lena?
I like how you giggle. Uh, I still don't really know how to answer this question sometimes.
Yeah, I
Whether
think I'm
you
just
like,
sorry to cut you off.
no, no.
I think I'm just done being nice to schools, man. Like I think there's some that are like good, like I mean, I know people have different like experiences with like Noman or whatever, or like VFS as well. I think like Sheridan in Canada as well are like pretty pretty well known like top notch schools or whatever. So, I mean, even then, there's like good and bad like stories out of them, and they're I think for me like a little less easy to just hate. But I mean, things like AI can go fuck themselves, man. They're terrible. I mean, I've never met a student from AI that was happy, or like had well, I don't know. It'd be mean to say that they didn't know what they're doing, but it seems like they're paying a fuck ton of money for like a terrible, terrible education.
Mm.
Like, and it's just, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like people being like nice to them is just like encouraging this like connection to an industry that they pretend to teach but don't know anything about. You know,
Mm. Mm.
Oh, I
um,
totally agree. God.
it's annoying. So I mean, uh, whatever. I mean, if you're gonna go to AI, fine, but maybe you shouldn't.
Oh
Do you
man.
want do you want time to like sit on your answer? I can like you can formulate it in your head while I blurt out my little short one.
It's not necessarily about time, man. It's like, do I put my foot in my mouth? Do I lie?
Mhm.
Or do I tell the truth? It's
Oh.
I don't know, and lots of people do listen to this, and I've been quite, honest in our streams, but that's a
Mhm.
touch and go kind of thing. So
Mm.
yeah, you answer. I'll just sit for a sec.
Um, yeah, I didn't really. I don't have a degree. I've got a, I've got a, what's it called? What I have? The fuck? Um, a diploma. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. That's it. I've
I,
got a
I I
diploma.
I think I have a certificate.
Yeah. I've got a diploma. It was only for 1 year of schooling, and it has nothing to do with art. So it's actually in games programming, C++. So it's totally irrelevant to my art career. Um, but I did like it for a little while until they pulled the one tutor that I had that actually knew anything about video games and had launched any game in his life. And they basically pulled him for teaching us that information.
Mhm.
And like he basically came in and was like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to make games. Fuck this like teaching curriculum bullshit because this school doesn't know what's what. You know what I mean? This is how to make games. I'm going to show you guys. And he did that, and that was fucking awesome. It was
Mhm.
so intense for like 2 or 3 months, but then he got sacked because he wasn't following the book. And he was replaced by somebody who had graduated from the very class that I was in, like 2 years before or something like that. Someone who had no experience, and it was just basically a student teaching the rest of the students. And I was like, man, I didn't pay like fucking 20 grand for this, man.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
but and the
So
thing is like it's the exact same thing. 'Cause, I mean, you and I are both probably from around the same time, you know, and that was happening in my school, and you know, it's still happening now, but like the price is going from like 20 grand to like 80 grand. So I mean, you have
Yep.
kids that are going to like school because the name of it is the Art Institute. You know what I mean? It's like it
yeah.
sounds pretty fucking legit, but I mean, then you end up paying an arm and a leg, and you're in debt forever. You know, because of like you know, their fucking you know, notoriety or whatever, like it's basically what you're paying for. But the notoriety isn't even there anymore. You know, like I don't think anybody really takes it that seriously. I mean, it's kind of becoming like what was it? Is it like Westwood College, like the fucking tighten up the graphics on level 3 commercial? You know, um, it's just a lot bigger, but it's like super dangerous. And I mean, if it wasn't, they wouldn't be getting sued, like and going out of business and shit, and like refunding students' tuition. You know, so I mean, there's clearly something wrong, and it's not just like, oh, like AI Dallas and AI New England are bad, but all the other ones are good. And I mean, I'm sure there's like teachers there that are solid, like what you had with like, you know, the one guy that the cool teacher who sat backwards in a chair and told the truth and stuff. But you know, like there's always exceptions, and I'm sure there's some that are good, and I'm sure there's students that like went through it and fucking excelled, and they're amazing. But generally, I mean, dude, it's ridiculous. I mean, you're paying like Harvard prices to learn how to use Macs, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think paying 80 grand is like worth that one anomaly of a teacher for that experience. You know, that's just shoot in the dark, man, and hoping that you get someone that actually knows what they're talking about, or you learn something where like you can click with the way they're teaching, and that's not worth the debt, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, based on like, obviously I've ranted about this like probably 100 times by now, but you know, some teachers will respond that they're like adjuncts, you know, like they're not fully employed or whatever, so they're kind of like a part-time teacher, and I mean that kind of sucks too. But I mean it's totally true, right? So I mean, you basically have students that or teachers that teach without experience. I mean, obviously the saying is those who can't teach, but I mean I don't know how necessarily true that is, but like basically the people that would do it full time aren't working in the industry currently, so you don't have updated, you know, lessons, right? And like the ones that like are really good, like those like cool teachers, are probably working at a studio, and they can't devote time to teaching. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of get like a taste of what an awesome teacher would be, but the way that the system is that you don't get them like a full time. You know?
Yeah.
I've actually experienced that firsthand, and that's something that because it's factual, sorry, I will be honest about, is that's a lot of Nomen. I can't speak for what Nomen is now, but when I was going to Nomen about 3 years ago, there was a lot of that. There are a handful of teachers at Nomen that are not in the industry at the moment and are full-time teachers. You know what? And they teach very old things because that's what they know and that's what they like, and they refuse to learn new programs and are kind of a little bit snot-faced when students are like, hey, let's learn this program. What about this program? And can we use this? And they're like, no, this is the only way. This is it. And it's tough, and it's a little bit infuriating because it's not what's new and what's current in the games industry. So you're left behind because this teacher is refusing to do anything new beyond what he thinks is the best. But then you've got teachers that I also had that were in the industry and were working on big titles, but man, one of those teachers didn't show up for like 3 classes in a row because they were too busy on the game and there were the deadlines or, you know, things that were going on in their job. So it's like, who's benefiting and who's suffering? We're still paying the money, so it's like we're kind of stuck. But I haven't really experienced a teacher that was in the industry and teaching at the same time and learned current gen things. So I'm sure maybe someone else did, but I didn't.
Yeah. Well,
So you had so what Lane is saying is that she went to Nome and she doesn't have any qualifications and she didn't really have a great time. To sum it up.
That's
Well, I mean,
To sum it up.
to be fair, I did go to University of Advancing Technology. That was the first school I went to. It's in Phoenix, not Phoenix, Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah,
mhm,
it was a pretty good school, but it was they got me with advertising, man. Their advertising was, "Do you play games?
mhm,
Cool. You can be a nerd at our school." And I was like,
mhm,
"I'm a nerd. I like games. Let's do this."
mhm.
But
Which
most what?
so I was gonna please continue. I was gonna say this leads perfectly into the next question, but finish your
Oh,
thought.
that's good. uh, yeah, but it was just it felt almost like a startup school. It was a really great community, and the staff was great. It wasn't crazy expensive, and I did get to learn a lot, and they did provide lots of things like that, a 24-hour um, computer like campus area with like Cintiqs and computers, and you could just use them at any point in time for free, and it was awesome. So that was great. Went to Academy of Art University in San Francisco. I had a horrible time. They didn't teach me anything that I wanted to know. No one really knew what they were talking about, but I learned lots of my traditional like drawing and traditional 2D skills from there. And then of course I went to Noman, and I everything that I know now and everything that I'm working on now, I didn't learn from Noman.
Mhm,
So that's just basically what I have to say.
mhm. So so we're all generally in favor of schooling. I think it's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
takeaway
yeah.
for this. Uh, I think I think my dislike of them is definitely um, amplified by the amount of students that I talk to in a year. And like it's not just me going to a school that I'm unhappy with and blah 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 blah. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily like sour grapes or anything like that. It's
Mm.
that I'm seeing the evidence of you luring people in and like shitting them out with misinformation. You know.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Um,
Totally.
so
Mhm.
question 9. How much traditional art making experience did you need before going into college and/or your job? Um, I think I had a portfolio for my school, but I don't think they really looked at it. And actually, the only reason that I ended up kind of like you, Lena, the only reason that I ended up going to the school that I went to is because I thought that I had to have a fine arts degree, and like that was originally going to be my path. So I assumed that I had to get a fine arts degree, then I was going to get an animation degree after that, and then
Mm.
I'd be ready for the workforce because where I'm from, nobody knew how to do this. It definitely wasn't a popular job at the time, and logically, it seems like you'd need fine arts. Then you go on just like any other, you know, college-based job. It's like you go get your general arts degree, and then like something else more specialized, and you kind of move on from there, right? Anyway,
Mm.
uh, because my portfolio at the time was basically just how many different times that I could draw Venom or like the Doom Space Marine. I didn't really make it to fine arts, and I got rejected and was like kind of scrambling to find like an alternative on how to like get into the games industry. And there was like a fucking like a magazine ad for this school that was like at the time, the art in it seemed like fucking mind blowing, but in like retrospect, it must have been terrible. I mean, it was like 2001, and it's all like student work from that time. So I mean, it couldn't have been that good. But anyway, it impressed me at the time, and I got sucked into that, and yeah, I don't think I had to submit a portfolio. Um, I don't think they really had a quality bar. Like I don't think it really mattered. Uh, and but I mean beyond that, like I used to draw all the time. Now I don't. Like basically since like digital art has become way more accessible, I don't really do it that much. I think it's more of like a patience thing. I don't really enjoy it as much as I used to.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I don't think I didn't require any traditional skills to get any of the jobs that I've had. I have drawn and I still sketch, the odd time kind of here and there. But yeah, it's never been like a permanent like part or fixture of anything that I've had to do like professionally.
Hmm. I've
Um,
definitely, I definitely never, I don't think I've ever had to draw at work, and I don't think I've ever like been looking to hire someone, and it came down to like a life drawing. You know what I mean?
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, totally. I'm the same. I have drawn at work. Like right now, for example, at Weta, I've got a stack of like paper
Hmm.
that is essentially right next to my tablet. So there's like a tablet, my monitors, and then right next to my tablet is the stack of paper, and I've got a pen and a pencil, and I will explain my ideas on that pencil and paper.
Oh yeah.
So if I'm trying to do shit, I'll like start drawing things and fiddling things out, and just I will start like drawing things down. That's it. But you're not gonna find like, some brilliant like fucking 2D illustrations on that shit.
Hmm.
It's more like stickmen
Mhm.
doing
Yeah,
kung
yeah.
fu.
I do that, but I think it's more like almost like note taking in a way.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Yeah.
just with like with doodles, but it's not like you're gonna open it up and like I don't know. It's like a fucking sketchbook that you could sell on like fucking Gumroad or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Lena?
Man, after listening to you guys answer all the questions, I end up forgetting what it is when it comes to me. I'm so sorry.
Uh,
Uh,
did you have to do any traditional art to get into school or get your job?
um, I don't think so. I think when I was in school, they drilled it pretty hard in your head that you'll never be a concept artist, and if you want to be a concept artist, don't because you're never going to be good enough. So
Hmm.
I kind of just didn't. I did traditionally paint, not traditionally, digitally paint for a while, but that was it. I don't think I ever needed it for a job, or I didn't need
Hmm.
it to get into school. But it certainly helps when you're trying to get ideas on paper. But that's it.
Hmm. So question 10. I hear a lot of mixed debates over quantity versus quality regarding portfolios. What is your stance on this subject? And I mean, I think all of us would agree. The answer is obviously quantity. I mean, what you have to do is have a portfolio full of just mediocre, terrible work, just
Oh
page
my
after
god, damn
page,
it!
just, just page
I
after
would have totally
page.
fell for it. You're
it's
talking, I was like, what the fuck?
it's obviously quality. I mean, less is more. Like I don't know. I mean, I see this like all the time, and I think like I think there's maybe a misunderstanding between your work. Like maybe like in school they want you to churn through work so that you learn the lesson that you're supposed to do, like how to box model, how to sculpt something, how to whatever, and like just kind of burn through as much stuff as you possibly can. But when it comes to hiring, I would rather see 3 really good pieces than 10 okay pieces.
Mm.
Can you just say that like louder and one more time?
Really?
Just yeah, just say it. In case anyone listening didn't hear that.
Yeah. Well, I think they can rewind. I think
Yeah, put that
just,
on
just
repeat.
rewind here from 10 seconds ago.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No,
dude,
I think the moment that I see that I click on a link for a prospective like hire, um, and I click on their folio link, if I see like 3 variants of barrel and crate props, I'm like this is the fucking guy for us.
mhm,
Like straight up, no, hands down, hired instantly.
right,
Um, as opposed to one like great barrel. I love seeing all those variants of prop
right,
goodness.
right,
No,
right.
no,
I
so
can't tell. You guys are so you guys are so confusing.
no, it has to be quality, dude. Has to be. I would even go further and just be like, even if there is one piece that is like fucking badass, like if I click that link and I just see one piece and it's a character or a creature that has a bunch of different materials on it, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like not just like a naked dude like posed in some way, or you know, something with just one material. But if it's like a dude or a monster, or a female kind of like character that's got armor and leather and metal, and there's hair and skin, and there's all these different things going on, even if someone has taken the time to make that look really, really good, I'm still more inclined to kind of like come back and try to investigate that person a little bit more than if I saw somebody with 5 pieces that just kind of all look about the same, and they're kind of like, they look a little bit rushed or a little bit unfinished and unpolished. I will still go back to the person who's got that one kind of like really pushed piece.
Hmm. Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Quality, man.
Hmm.
Quality.
Quality. Question 11. How long did it take you to learn the 3D programs? Is schooling required to be a character artist, or can you be self-taught? Um, I mean, uh, I think I'm still kind of learning. But I don't know. I mean, that's kind of hard to answer. But I feel like everyone ends up going through this, like, there's this stage where once like something clicks and like you finally get it, you finally understand how things work. You know what I mean? Like inside of like in digital 3D space or whatever. And I don't know, dude. I don't know if that's necessarily the point of learning or what, but I mean, from when I first opened up, like, oh, I guess at the time it was XSI, but when I first opened up my very first 3D program to when I made something that was noticeably good, and by noticeably good, I mean other people that I respected told me it was okay. Um, Probably 3 years.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
at the 3 year mark, they were just like, Gavin, that's a great looking thing.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah.
that,
It was
that
weird. You
that's
know what's really weird about it is that it was like January 1st. You know what I mean? And like there's like fireworks going off, and there's like fucking gross babies with their sashes on and shit like that strolling around. And I'm like, and I get this like fucking and I'm like, oh shit, what? And they're like, Gavin, you made it. I'm like, oh fuck,
they're
Happy New
like
Year to me. Yeah,
that
yeah.
that that rendered that perfectly rendered teapot is
Yeah, yeah,
you've done it. You're
It's
there
now
now.
amazing.
yeah,
Yep.
totally, totally.
After 3 years of rendered teapots, this is the one.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
totally. Just keep chipping
This
away at those
can
teapots.
The question can be completely kind of misunderstood though, depending on, who's listening. Because you could say, yeah, about 3 years, but how often were you working? How much did you work? How much did you do?
Hmm.
How much were you using it? Because you could say, oh, 3 years, and then some other student could be like, well, I've been doing 3D modeling in Maya for 3 years and I still suck. What's wrong? But
Hmm.
maybe they're not even working as hard as you were.
Yeah,
So the
Mm.
question's always so, like, could be interpreted. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
no,
kind of
totally.
wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
what's weird though is that I mean that doesn't necessarily mean from like the yeah. I mean you're absolutely right, but I guess like from my like interpretation like of like the question right is what's I guess what's weird to me is that between when I started learning and from when I made something that I felt like proud of, I was already
Mm.
working. You know, like I was already
Mm.
working for like a year. So I mean, I guess like I don't know, man. Like it's like this weird. I guess it depends on what you define as being good, and like yeah, like you're saying, like how hard you're working at it. You know what I mean? And like the different things that you're picking up along the way. I mean, you know, like I've said, like I was doing like 2D and stuff like that at the same time. So like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's not. There's definitely not like a clear cut answer. It's not like a fucking like a Pokemon egg. You know what I mean? It's not like you can just like get it and like walk around for 3 years and then it just magically you bloom and become like decent. You know? It's like
Yeah.
I mean, it's either 3 years of just like working your fucking ass off or 3 years of just lazily opening the program are two totally different things. You know?
Mm.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm really slow as well. I'm quite a slow learner, so it takes me quite a few kind of like muck arounds. If there's a new tool or something, I need to like set myself a project or something to do, and I need to really mess around with it and break it to go, oh, I see how this works. But learning a whole new piece of software, I think if it's the very, very first one that you're using and you've never like delved into the realm of 3D ever before, I think that's a pretty daunting task, man. I think that's really kind of a challenging thing to do.
Hmm.
But yeah, as far as how long it takes, fuck, I don't know, man. I mean, it depends if you're Gumby like me or you're like a fucking genius like Gavin. Then it might not take so
Oh,
long. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's quite tricky to answer that one. I think it's all dependent on the person, how
Hmm.
much sort of gusto they have to get that shit going as fast as possible.
Hmm. I mean,
Mm.
either way, it definitely takes work.
Take
I
yeah.
mean, I don't think I've met anyone who just casually became good.
Mm.
So
Just born good.
yeah, dude. It's is this gonna get into a uh, an argument about what talent means?
oh
Oh,
God.
You know, like are you born good? Are you born with the inclination to want to do art for a living, just naturally? Is it in your DNA to be an artist?
so talented.
No, man. No.
Love that comment.
Yeah. So
Watch that
talented.
comment just be just depleted from this planet. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
man.
you're so talented.
Yeah. I wish I could draw. You know? Do you? Do you wish that? Anyway.
God.
uh, okay, question 12. What school should I go to? What should I study
Next.
or
I'm just
major? We
kidding.
already
Sorry.
answered. Well, we already answered that, right? I
Mm.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what? None.
Or
I
what?
mean,
What?
I guess like, I guess if I had to recommend, if your parents or whatever are like forcing you to go to school, or you feel that you have to, or you have to for like visa reasons or something, like you want, a formal education to get like a visa or whatever. Man, I think I would recommend going to like an actual university and just doing this on like your own time through through like all the tutorials there are, like the Patreons, the Gumroads, like all of that, and just picking it up on your own, because eventually you're just going to be teaching yourself anyway. So
Mm.
I you might as well go to an actual credible school that isn't going to like fucking manipulate you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. The only other thing that I would add to that is like I would I think that if it was me, I would choose to take like a more traditional art
Hmm.
um, course as well. I probably wouldn't do a digital art course, and the only reason for that is because I think the foundations that you learn there will really help speed up
Hmm.
your kind of like that it will help speed up getting to that point where you're making badass stuff in 3D.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, I could totally
Probably
agree with that.
Hmm.
for the most part. I mean, there's always people who are like, man, I've never drawn anything in my life, and they're like gods at sculpting in 3D. But I think for the average kind of person, I think just being able to like draw and put things down
Hmm.
can really speed up things.
It's definitely transferable, dude, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Like, um, yeah, I mean, even like the basics that you end up learning, like, like color theory or,
Mm,
anything like that.
mm.
Obviously, you can see how much formal education I have, but like, but I mean, it's definitely transferable, and I think I would agree with you. I mean, I would go to like get like an actual fine arts degree
Yeah, yeah.
and just do the digital stuff on your own, man, because oof,
That's a good
I,
idea. I've never thought of that. If you had to get a degree or so you can travel to different countries, that's a kind of a really good plan, man. Especially because at Nomen they did have a traditional sculpting class,
mhm,
and that was awesome. If I could take classes where I traditionally sculpted in 3D a lot, or painted and learned how colors work and how to build characters, the sketching or how it works, man, Yeah, that's a good idea. That's cool.
Hmm.
Totally.
Cool. It's probably like cheaper too, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I imagine. Um, so question 13. Do I need a demo reel, portfolio site? Um, I don't think you need a demo reel unless it shows motion, unless you're an animator or doing environment art, fly-throughs and stuff like that. Generally, demo reels for character stuff kind of annoy me just because you have to load like videos and things like that. Uh, you obviously need a portfolio to get an art job.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, unless you guys know of somebody who's never shown anybody their work ever and somehow still gets a job. I don't know.
Uh,
And for a portfolio site, I mean, these days, man, like, I mean, I still have my own website, but ArtStation is like where it's at for me. Like, it's like a common language now. It's like a predictable format. Like everybody kind of knows like what they're getting with ArtStation. Uh,
Yeah.
I I absolutely hate Wix. Wix is like the fucking worst portfolio site host thing that I've ever encountered in my entire life. I think it's the new Angel Fire for sure. It's like GeoCities. It sucks.
I actually
Um,
don't know what's going on with that. I feel bad, but I've had a Wix for a very long
oh
time.
shit. It's
I've
just
never, I don't
it's,
put it, I don't put
it,
it anywhere. I don't use it. I don't like put the link. I just have it because it's one of those
Mhm.
things that you just a spitballed and you just got everything, to see
Right.
what works. But well, what is it with Wix that it's not so good?
Uh, at least the ones that I've seen. The format is like really hard to read. It's generally hard to like load the images, and I think you might be able to, I don't know, remember if it's all free or what, but I think there's like ads and stuff built into it. So like while you're like searching through work, you'll have ads pop up for like fucking whatever,
Weird.
or like razors or
Really?
something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Huh. I
and
haven't checked Wix in ages, so I don't know.
yeah, and like I think um can't remember what like the URLs for them are. Like I can't remember if it like builds it in or what, but I think I don't know. I can't remember, so I'm not gonna like fucking shit talk their URL format or anything like that. Doesn't
No,
really
it's all
matter.
good. I just
But yeah, I'm looking at like their site now for like what they have. But it's
I
more of
just
like a
had that the layout that Troy has for his Tumblr, where it's just all the art on the front page.
mhm,
It's just all like scroll through it, but
yeah.
that's it.
Hmm.
I don't know. But anyway, I don't use it. I think again, I agree with you. ArtStation is the best because everyone knows it and knows how to maneuver through it, and it's simple. When I was at Weta, we were looking to hire someone else on our team, and our lead just opened up ArtStations, didn't look at anything else because
Hmm.
that's what was the quickest. So,
mm,
and we've had that question a lot if people should have a personal like website or an ArtStation.
Hmm.
And for me, I know I don't hire anybody, but I would probably go with it's probably better to just have a really nicely laid out portfolio on ArtStation.
Hmm.
yeah,
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 and
me too.
I mean I think like I mean one of the benefits for ArtStation, I mean it's definitely like the predictability, right? I mean I think like as soon as you get you know, like my favorite host, Wix, or anything like that, you kind of start getting this like personalization to it, and it makes it more confusing. And I mean, before ArtStation, that was definitely the critique a lot too. Was like, you have Flash built into your site, or you have like
Mm.
just scripts that I have to load and shit like that, and it just makes it like way more complicated when all I really want to see is the art. Like I don't want to have to like go through your I don't know, like proving to me that you're a competent web designer or some shit. Like I don't care about
Mhm.
that. Like I just want to see like the art and have it like laid out in a way that makes sense.
Mm.
Totally. Yeah.
Uh, 14. Do I need an education? Yes.
Wait, is that real? Are you
Yeah.
joking?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
You are joking.
no, 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 no. It's a real question.
Oh,
Uh, do I need an education? you definitely need an education. I don't know if you need a formal education. Uh, yeah, I mean, you definitely don't need a formal education. You need a job, like we've gone over. But you definitely need to educate yourself on how to make art that people really like. So you at least need experience or discipline or however you want to put it. But you know, you got to learn something, right? Technically.
Yeah, yeah. I think you nailed that question, man.
Yeah. There you go. 15. What software do you use?
Holy
Troy?
shit!
And that's the end of the podcast.
Maybe that's the
Yeah.
last one?
And have we got like the ending podcast jingle or something? We just
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that started.
Da, 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 da.
Oh
Fucking
fuck!
hell.
We need to get like little sound bites, man, so we can just press the spacebar and just play the fucking
Oh, we
Yeah,
totally
man.
should. That'd be funny. Like a
Just
little
like
Benny
a
Hill
radio
fucking.
just like a clown whistle.
Fuck. Fuck. All right. So what's the next question?
All right. What have you learned about the path to becoming a successful 3D modeler? Troy?
Hmm.
Lena?
Um, the path. Fuck. That's almost like philosophical, man. That's a tough question, dude, because I think it's very very it's a long path, man.
Mhm.
And I think for every person it's different because you have to be really really persistent. You've got to stay on top of your game for so many different things, artistically and technically, to be in the games industry.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of like the biggest thing. I think if I was to look back and be like, hey, like tell myself way back when, like what it's going to be like, I would say, man, you need to up your resistance to just being able to like stick in, stay there and like dig in and do the thing that needs to be done. Because I think it's pretty easy to be faced with all of those kind of hurdles, technical hurdles, and this constant like need to stay up to date with new things and new techniques of doing things. Yeah, I would go back and tell myself that that's probably going to be the biggest challenge. So mentally prepare for that.
Mhm.
I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned.
Cool.
I would definitely say the biggest thing above all since I've started, and especially since I've been learning under Troy, is to finish your project. And I know that's so hard because so many of us are like, cool, there's this thing and it looks awesome, I'm going to 3D model that, and then you get stuck or you get bored and it just gets left in your computer forever. But as someone that's starting out and trying to be somebody or be a better artist, I can't get there without finishing, which entails getting past what's difficult. Because usually I only stop a project when I suck at something, or
Mhm.
I don't know how to do it, or I'm struggling. And whenever I have pushed past that struggle and just continued on it anyway, and I finished, I end up learning so much more and being able to put that experience forward onto my next project. I think I solely base where I am now just because I've finally fucking finished stuff. Um, so definitely the path to being a better 3D modeler, man, is stop starting projects and not finishing them.
Yeah. I think to add to both of that, which I agree with both points, is to do the things that make you happy, which I know sounds kind of you know flighty or whatever, but I think the things that I finished and the things that I like learned the most from and the pieces that I was most proud of are things that I wanted to do in the first place. And I think that my most unhappy, most unproductive, uh, least informative times was when I was like working on shit that I didn't like. You know what I mean? So I think when I was younger, I'm like trying to get good or whatever. Since I was in Vancouver, I was like really trying to get into EA, which was the big one at the time. So I would just work on like sports things, like athletes, like pro athlete like faces and shit like that. And I didn't get anywhere because I didn't really care about it. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like following the like I have to go there because that's the big one. That's like the biggest like chance of like getting a job. But I mean, in the end, like I'm kind of chasing something I didn't give a fuck about anyway. So like when I would work on like fantasy things or anything like that is when I started learning because I really wanted it to be good because I really liked it. So by doing that, I want to finish. I want it to be good, and like I'm pushing myself harder and harder. So I guess for people on the path to trying to become a competent 3D person, is that you should probably work on things that you actually really enjoy. I think you get the most out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, man.
Yeah.
totally agree with that.
So, 17. What would be the best strategies to improve efficiently?
Oh, I got this.
Okay.
Uh,
Is
only
it finished stuff? I think you just answered that. You know.
I totally finish stuff, but at the same time, that could be like, well, it took me like 5 months to finish. Well, why
Mhm.
did it take you 5 months? So I only know this based off of, again, Troy's epic amount of wisdom drilled into my brain. Um,
Oh,
dude, if you're serious about this, you gotta stop bullshitting, stop fucking around. Like, I had to cut out my social life, and this is not for everybody, but it works. Cutting out social life, cutting out, oh, I'm going to go to this party this weekend, oh, I'm going to go to lunch with my friends, oh, I've got this TV show to watch, and I'm playing this game, and you got to cut that shit out and focus on your work and put time into it and get it done. I feel like that is the best way, and it's the quickest way I've found results. And it's the hardest and kind of shittiest way, but it fucking works.
Mhm.
So that's that's my thought on it.
Mhm. Yeah. Stop being lazy. Basically, the message, I guess.
yeah, pretty much, man.
Kind of.
I think that's kind of what it comes down to, man. It, it's like having some kind of realistic expectation for
Mhm.
where you want to be, given your situation. You know what I mean? Whatever situation you're in, and just going, fuck, okay, well, here I am. This is what my life looks like. Basically, I'm in this position, but I want to be that good over there, and how to get from where you are to that point as
Mhm.
efficiently as possible. I think that all comes down to making some sacrifices and figuring out what's more important and how important is it, like how important is that goal in your life. Is it like the number one most important thing? Well, then sacrifice everything else to get there, man.
Mhm.
You don't have to do it forever. This is temporary. It's like a short term thing. This isn't like, well, that's going to be you for the next 25 years. It's nothing like that. It could literally take 6 months. It could take a year, but you're not talking. We're not talking about you need to be a slave to your goals for the next 10 years. That's not really it, man.
Mhm.
But it's just
It's
be
just
practical. There's just no
yeah.
amount. The thing that bothers me is you can be enthusiastic all you want. You could be like, I'm so excited. I love 3D. I'm gonna make this character, and I'm gonna do this thing. My portfolio is gonna be great. And you could be saying that for 2 or 3 months, but if there's no work, your words are meaningless.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But let me just go and get this bowl of ramen first.
Yeah.
Let me just go hang out with my friends tonight. It's very important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Um. So, question 18. Um, what style should my portfolio be? Sci-fi, Western? Is it important?
That's actually kind of a good question. Um, I'm
Sorry
glad
for
it
the
kind of
phone.
popped up. Can you hear the phone, by the way?
I can, yeah, but I mean, fuck it, right?
Oh, yeah.
I
Sorry
mean,
about that. Phone
sorry,
blasting.
everybody.
Yeah, It's actually Gavin. Gavin's
Yeah,
calling us
yeah, yeah,
just to try and get some double action going on.
yeah. I just want it to
Um,
be like a hall of mirrors kind of thing.
um, yeah. So, fuck, man. So I've always been a believer in like I think it's your best approach is to figure out what kind of art you enjoy making, and then kind of like pick a company that you really want to work at, or whose games you really enjoy playing, or whose style you really like, and just try and go for that.
Hmm.
That becomes like the bar to hit. I think. I think if you don't really need to just go, oh well, I want to create my portfolio in this specific style over here. Just there is no real kind of like right answer except what's the stuff that you like the most, and are there companies that are doing that, and if you want to work at those companies, then do that. Make it fit, man. Like that's always been the traditional way I think of getting your foot in the door. It's just like, can you do what they do? Can you do it better? If so, then your chances of getting hired are probably pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of going back to a previous answer for me. I mean, I think your portfolio should reflect what you want to do. And I see students like a lot of the times will uh, it's like they're trying to cater a portfolio to a specific company, and while that definitely will get the attention of that company, you're also limiting options in a way, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm making like a generally realistic games and that's what my company does, but your portfolio is all like League of Legends or like WoW or something like that. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
a bit harder, and it's not just an art director trying to see if your work will fit in with like what the studio is doing. It's more like, do you even want to be in the company? Like, are you going to enjoy it? Like, are you going to enjoy making like fucking, you know, military stuff, or
Yeah.
getting into the like, you know, fine details of like fucking realistic skin shading and stuff like that? Like, are you even interested in it? So, again, I mean, for me, it's like do what you want. I feel that like the passion for your work will end up showing through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you'll end up producing better work. I think it'll naturally pull in work that you want to do. I mean, it just might take a little bit longer if the things that you're doing is for a niche market. Like if you're doing something that's fucking way out there. Again, I think we've done this in like different podcasts, but if your portfolio consists of just unreadable, crazy fucking shit, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be a bit harder for people to give you a job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally, man.
I can understand how this question for even like people who are starting out and students is confusing though.
Hmm.
Because I remember when I was in my last years of school, I knew what company I wanted to work for and how I wanted to gear my portfolio, but the teacher at the time wouldn't let me. He wanted me to do Gears of War guns
Hmm.
and stuff like that, and then it was like you need to have a creature, you need to have a guy, you need to have a girl, you need to have a this style and realism. And at what point do you know how to manage your portfolio? Do you go with what the school is telling you to put in your portfolio, even though it's like things that you don't enjoy, but it's good so that you can show the company that you're versatile? Or do you gear it towards like somewhat relevant to the company? Um, like, who do you say no to and who do you listen? Do you listen to yourself? Like, I can understand at that point in that scenario, it's confusing.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
You always listen to Gavin. That's the bottom line.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's why I said it's kind of like it's like I think it is important to know yourself what you like to do, because if someone is like if you love to make League of Legends characters, and someone is asking you to make Gears of War characters, and you know that you don't like it but you're just doing it, for somebody who's at Epic Games or for somebody who's at Riot, and they've likely been, they're there because they're pinnacle kind of companies, and those artists are likely experienced and they're likely pretty good at what it is that they're doing. They're going to be able to see that work, and they're going to be able to go, yeah, this guy is shit at this. You know what I mean? Like we can tell by looking at it that you don't really like doing that stuff. Like if you've got a big folio and it's broad, you've got a realistic guy over here, you've got cartoon person here, you've got a cell shaded kind of like character here, and you've got a very very Eastern styled like 11 heads tall kind of like superhero that's like dressed like a Korean pop star kind of thing. Then if you look at all of that, I think it will show which stuff you don't like to do, because some stuff will be better than the others. That's my gut feeling on it.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about having like a diversity like that in your portfolio? I mean, I feel like students, or I guess people just trying to get into the industry will have a portfolio that has, I guess it's kind of like the quantity over like quality thing, but you'll have like the cell shaded thing. You'll have like an Eastern inspired character. You'll have something that looks like it should be in like Gears of War or something like that, and you'll have like a bunch of unfinished sculpts or something like that. Does that? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to like ask it, but it, like basically, I mean, to me, it's like if you have that wide of a range of different subjects or whatever, it's harder for me to figure out how good you are or what you want to do. And I think like the general idea is that like if I can show that I can do this and I can do that and I can do like all of these different styles, I'm such a versatile artist, like I'm so good. But usually, in my experience anyway, you're going to gravitate towards one of those things more, and it's going to be better, and you're going to start making more of that and getting more work for that, and that's your thing. But if you have everything equally presented, it usually ends up that all of that is just done like haphazardly. Like it's not like none of them are really good. It's like the cell shaded one is okay, the more realistic one is okay, the like fucking anime inspired one is okay or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of like spreading yourself out too thin by trying to be so diverse.
Yeah, I think I've actually even had a conversation with somebody about that exact thing, man. And I think
it was the generalist versus specialist.
Yeah, it was like the thing that I ended up saying is like when I see that in a folio, I'm like, man, I can't really tell what it is you want to do. You know what I mean? Like you've got tons of stuff here, and it's not that it's bad. It's just from a company perspective, we do this thing over here, and I can see that you've got one example of that thing, but because it's in amongst all this other stuff, I don't really know if I should pick you over the person over here that's got a folio of that kind of stuff that we do. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit tricky. I understand the need to do it because you want to kind of like shotgun blast it, but I don't really think that it's a smart way to go to kind of put your best foot forward. I think it's better to focus. That's just my perspective on it.
No, I agree as well. Yeah, okay. So question 19, should I be a character artist? And I'm going to combine that with another question, but do you have any suggestions on what other skills I should learn along with 3D modeling based on your experience? I think like we've probably all seen like a lot of portfolios, and again, it might just be the trying to prove that you can do anything, just hoping that something sticks. To see portfolios that are like character art, environment art, rigging. I got like weapons in there. There's some like lighting stuff. There's some like UI, and to me, that's usually a pretty terrible thing to do. For the same reason as like the last question, like I think like all of those pieces are going to suffer if you don't focus on one thing and become really good at that. There's obviously exceptions to the rule, like indie developers, usually you'll have to do more than one thing. Like you're usually not just the character person. You're going to be doing, you know, other things. Like maybe you rig your own characters, maybe you do animations too, maybe you build a bunch of props and stuff like that. But generally speaking, at least for AAA, I'm not sure what it's like for film or whatever, but yeah, I mean the way it's going now is like focusing on one thing and proving that you're really good. And as far as choosing to be a character artist, um, I mean I like to think that you're born a character artist, but whatever. Uh, but I mean I think you know what I mean. Like I think like at least for me, like I've always wanted to make characters. You know what I mean? Like I've always drawn characters. I've like had interest in like character driven stories and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah,
always been
same.
my yeah. I mean, it's just always been my interest, and I think you'd know. And I think like if it's a question of do I take it because uh, characters are all over like Zebra Central and Polycount or something, like no. I mean, I think you should do what you're willing to devote the rest of your life to doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Don't just like, for instance, like I said earlier, the school was like, don't be a concept artist. You're never gonna make it. Dude, if
Hmm.
that's what you want to do, and you love drawing and designing characters, don't give up. You just gotta put hard work into it. That's just the bottom line.
Hmm. Yeah,
Same with
Yeah.
totally.
3D characters and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard like the inverse too. Like, I want to make characters, but there's way more environment jobs. So should I
Mm.
just make an environment portfolio? And I mean, I think like mathematically, it's a better idea. Like if you do become a good environment artist, and your chances of getting a job are going to be better. But I mean, it can't be it can't be good to spend that much time doing that if you didn't really want to do it in the first place, just so that you can someday get the job of the discipline that you learned in order to become something else. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's
Yeah.
like I'm going to become a good environment artist, get that job, then eventually become a character artist. But I mean, all the time that you're spending becoming an environment artist, you're taking away from being a character artist. So
Mm.
Oh,
I mean, eventually you're just going to be an environment artist. You know?
Yeah.
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
exactly what I went through too. Because that was also told to us that you get a higher percentage chance of getting an environment job. If
Hmm.
you want a job, which to all of us that were in school, the job was most important, not what you were doing.
Hmm.
It's fuck happiness, right?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Apparently.
but it's totally right. If you want to be a character artist, you just then be a character artist, not something else until you can do that other thing. So,
Hmm.
yeah, totally agree.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys basically said everything. I don't have anything to add to that. I think
All
you're
right.
spot on.
Uh, so I think maybe the last question, number 20. I think we've been going for a while. I think we've been going for like almost 2 hours now.
Yeah, maybe next podcast will be like questions 21 through
Yeah,
blank.
exactly. We're gonna have to start
My
doing like
God.
chapters or something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
Q&A Chapter 3.
yeah, yeah,
Just for anyone who didn't know, it was supposed to be like 40 questions.
yeah. I mean, I've still got like a bunch, but I mean, that's the thing is that they just keep coming, you know. But I mean, honestly, like a lot of them are just kind of the same thing reworded, and I mean, I get it. Like a lot of the time it's gonna be like a student, and things are things are new, and you want to like contact somebody doing it for a living, and that's what else are you going to ask? Because like you were saying, Elena, like the priority is the job. You know what I mean? Like that's your whole thing. Like you don't really have any other priority or whatever, right? So
Mm.
all these questions kind of end up being the same, but whatever. Trying to preventing myself from going on a rant is just like I was saying in the beginning of the podcast. It's just so mind blowing that they still have, like these questions are still there. You know what I mean? That there's not a lot of like opportunities for seemingly a lot of opportunities for actual insight into the industry and like how you do get a job, how other people have gotten jobs, like how to construct a portfolio, like things that are you know kind of not even like
Important.
open to interpretation. It's like you have like all successful portfolios are done this way. You know, like it's
Yeah.
not like whatever. So anyway, trying to prevent a rant as I'm very susceptible to doing. Question 20. Um, I'm pushing 30. Is it too late for me to get into the industry?
That's a really good question. I don't think so, man. I think you can. I think you can still do whatever you need to do. Fucking
Mm-hmm.
even if you're like 40, even if you're like 50 right now, man. I think it's still possible. It just kind of depends on what your goals are,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
dude.
what you want to do and where you want to be and all that kind of stuff. I don't think age is really a factor, man. Like at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I don't think talent knows an age. You know, I mean, I think the only thing that would stand in your way is the willingness to learn new programs or like the desire to put the effort into like figuring them out. Um, a prime example is like one of my favorite artists, Rick Baker, who is like fucking traditional artist, worked on like American Werewolf in like London and stuff like that, like crazy, crazy old school, awesome horror, you know, special effects makeup guy and stuff. Picks up fucking ZBrush like a few years ago, and it's just a beast, man. He's amazing, you know. And I mean, he's like, I don't know, I don't want to guess his age, but he's like 60 or
it,
70 or whatever, right? I mean,
yeah, he's got to
he's
be
up there.
60.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. So I mean, he definitely learned digital sculpting in his like 60s, you know.
Mm.
So I don't know, man. If you want to do it, it's just a matter of wanting to put in the effort to learn the new techniques, and it's not like a company would or should or is legally able to be like, nah, he's old, fuck him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what you can't do that. I mean, if you're good, you're good, and really, in the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Rick Baker's actually only 25. He just looks that old because of the fucking the amount of work and the amount of hours he's put into the industry.
Yeah, that's he's lived 25 human years, but but he's actually you know working around the clock constantly and aging himself times three.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think that's it. I think age is kind of irrelevant, man. Just set some decent expectations and go for that.
Yeah.
You know what? There's one like kind of like side piece of advice that I want to like throw into this podcast as well. And it's kind of like it's a little bit relevant, but not really. And I've only seen this a couple of times, but both times that it happened, it really kind of cracked me up, and I was like, what is this fucking person doing? Because they showed up to their interview. This is about what you should wear to your interview.
Oh shit.
So don't wear a fucking suit.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, if you show up to
Or
your
do
interview,
wear a suit.
if you show up to your interview in a suit, man, I'm gonna take the piss out of you immediately, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like straight away. Like, it's just weird. It's just weird. Because I think, well, every studio that I've worked in has been so casual, man, and so informal, and it's so strange to see somebody walking around in a suit that's like applying to be a character artist, and it immediately sets this weird kind of like,
Dude, you know what is? I mean, obviously you can't like not hire somebody based on how they look or whatever, right?
Right.
But I mean, it definitely sends a message of like you don't get it, like you don't get like what it's like to work here because you're dressed like a lawyer, and it's just, you know, I, yeah. I mean, I don't think I've definitely never ever worked in a studio that had anything but like casual dress, and
Yeah.
like I I mean, I don't think I've ever worked with anybody who's been the exclusion. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think I think just wear a nice clean shirt. You know,
Yeah,
maybe.
dude. I mean, smart casual is fine. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But a full blown suit. I've seen people rock up in a full blown suit, dude. I'm like, fuck. Is there a wedding? Like, what is this? What's happening here, man? What's going on? Where are we going? It was just
Well,
really. It was.
I think they were attending the funeral of their own chances at getting that job.
Oh man, totally, dude, totally. It was weird for everybody that was in that room, man. It was weird. A lot of us were just sitting here like, is this for real, man? Is this for
Yes.
real? And I know it's you're not allowed. You can't marginalize someone for that. But it's just yeah. You
Mhm.
could sum it up to simply like this person just doesn't get it.
Mhm. And it would be the same as it would be the same as if it was the other way. Like
Oh,
if a
totally.
guy shows up like with fucking Daisy Duke shorts and like a fucking tank top and his nipples are hanging out and he hasn't fucking bathed. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's like I can't judge you based on this choice, but I mean, you clearly don't understand what it's like to be a professional, in this industry.
Right. You can't wear stuff like that until you've been here for at least a week. You know,
Yeah, yeah. You gotta
man,
get you need to get lead status to show people your nipples. Okay.
oh
Uh,
man,
yeah, man.
classic.
Clean shirt, brush your teeth, take a shower. You know,
Yeah, dude, it's
that's
not a
it.
lot of effort. You know what I mean? It's just it's probably more like what you would normally wear. That's probably good enough to go out and fucking and grab something for dinner with your girlfriend or whatever.
Hmm.
Just go with that, man. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Dude, you know what's weird is that two jobs I've some like I wouldn't say I got the job based on how I looked because that's a really fucking douchey thing to say. But one job at the time I had a fucking mohawk, so I had this like big spiky fucking mohawk, and it was like this fucking like it they brought it up like so much, right? And I think it like almost ended up becoming this like topic of like a point of conversation. You know what I mean? Because like it opens you up to like, well, what kind of music are you into? And like I'm almost becoming like more friendly to them because they're like talking to me about this thing, right?
Yep.
And then the other job at actually was with like Irrational. I ended up most of my interview, man, was talking with like my boss to be about tattoos. Dude, it was like an hour conversation about tattoos. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
man. No, dude, it's totally. I think if there's something, if you can find something that's, there's some kind of familiar thing that's going on, I think that's cool, man.
Yeah,
You know.
but don't show up to like Blizzard wearing like a World of Warcraft shirt, dressed up as a fucking whatever they are, a dark elf or some shit. Don't do that. Don't try too hard to fit in.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man.
yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah. All right, man. I think it's it,
It's a
right?
pretty good session. That's
I
a
think
pretty
so.
good session, man.
Yeah. Just hopefully the time between now and our next one isn't an entire you know
4 months.
Yeah.
season. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, I think this would be good if like people aren't available just to answer some questions.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And oh fuck, I could do like the professional podcast thing and leave your questions and comments in the section below on YouTube or some shit. I don't know if you have questions, please post them below this video.
Yeah,
There's gonna be
absolutely.
that one guy, man, that's like, but what software do you use?
Yeah.
Yeah, Troy.
I'm sorry, but my question wasn't answered. What software do you use?
Mhm.
Like, fuck. Just
Dude,
keep.
so have you ever actually answered that question?
Yes.
Like I'm sure because usually the question comes after saying what software you did use to make it. Like if you post it on ArtStation, it's like obviously ZBrush or something like that, right? And have you ever actually humored them and been like, yeah, ZBrush?
Yeah, so many times, so
You kind
many
of have
times.
Yeah.
Eh?
to,
And
because
I don't know why. I think because when we're streaming, particularly when we're streaming, but there's a
yeah.
lot of people. There's a lot of people who like pop into the stream and they literally have no idea what they're seeing. So
Hmm.
they're looking at like this ZBrush screen and they're like, what is this? Like what am I even looking at? I have no idea what this is, but it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
but I have no idea. And there's been a couple times where I've just gone, man, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? Asking me
But then
what
that
software
guy
this is.
is a dick.
But then I'm the dick because that guy was like, hey man, I'm really sorry, but I have no idea. I play video games. I have no idea what 3D art is. I'm just asking because I had no idea. I'm really sorry. And then
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a total douchebag. I'm like, oh fuck. I'm sorry, man. It's just, you know.
Well,
So
that's the problem though, man. Is that you're a caged animal at this point. You know what I mean? And it's like, and he's poking you, having never seen you before, and you bite him. But I mean, it's like, don't fucking touch me though. You know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of his fault. I mean, I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. You know? It's like, fuck, dude. Do you realize how many times I've been asked this question? Do you know
Well, at the
what
same
I've
time,
gone
like,
through?
it says when you're streaming, it says it. Like, if you just take a second, just 1 second to look at what you're looking at, it says ZBrush in the corner. And then on top of that, we've got a section below our stream. It says, what programs do I use? This is what I'm using.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter.
See, I
People
mean,
just ask us the
this
whole stream.
there's like warning signs all around the gorilla pit, and this fucking guy just jumps in. You know?
yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. I think I've even like added it. I did a joke thing one time, and I added like the what software I used to make the sculpt onto the actual picture, onto the actual picture that I uploaded, and I uploaded it to DeviantArt, and there was still like one jackass that was like, "What software did you use?" And he wasn't asking in a joking way. It was a legit question, and it's like, dude.
Ugh, come on.
Yeah, whatever.
Wow.
You just can't beat those fools, man.
I know.
Nope.
Man.
You're gonna lose forever.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, we'll have to do this again soon. Not,
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
not, not
absolutely.
5 months away.
Yeah.
All
We'll be here.
Okay. All right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Cool, man. All right. Take it easy.
Bye.